And what about cheaper alternatives to medium-bodied reds, high acidity? You know, people think Pinot Noir a lot of the time.
Yeah, Domaine.
I'm Matthew Horkey. For the last 7 years, I've traveled around the world tasting thousands of wines annually in search of the most unique, exciting, and expensive bottles on the planet. So we've all been there before, hundreds of bottles staring at us in the face while we look at them like a deer in headlights. I remember when I first started learning about wine, it was so intimidating. If you go to a store, there are more different types of wine than any other product. It's almost like me, or maybe some other men out there, if you have a girlfriend, wife, woman that you're dating, ask you to go pick up something from the makeup aisle. Once you step foot in that makeup section, yes, the world of wine is diverse and there's a lot to know, but I'm gonna try to simplify things just a little bit. And then I'm gonna take you to a local shop with me. A lot of people don't have wine vocabulary and that intimidates them. If you don't know anything about cars and you go to an auto mechanic and he starts spouting out all these parts, your head can start spinning if you don't know what he's talking about. I'm gonna lay down some real baseline terms, some things that you need to know about so you can identify what you like and you can talk to your local shop owner. So number one, you have to give yourself a break. You don't have to know everything about wine to enjoy it. The most important thing about wine is it's a bottle that keeps the people that you love at the table just a little bit longer. And I think conversations just flow differently. So cut yourself some slack, but you have to know your personal palate or maybe the palate of your guests. Let's start out with the basics. Red or white? Next, do you want a sweet wine or do you want a dry wine? Wine is grape juice that's fermented into alcohol. And what dryness means is when all that sugar in the grape juice converts into alcohol, there's little to no residual sugar left. That means it's a dry wine. It's not that sensation that's in your mouth. People that are fairly new to wine generally like wines with just a touch of residual sugar, just a touch of sweetness, and that's what you're gonna see at the entry level at more cheaper wines, especially in the supermarket. But this is all about buying some higher quality wines because you want to step up your game, you want to educate yourself. So we're going to focus a little bit more on dry wines, even though as I get more and more into wine, I get so into sweet wines. Some of the greatest wines in the world are dessert wines or sweet wines, but that's a topic for another day. Another thing you want to know is how big is the wine in the mouth, the body of the wine. You hear that often. You have light-bodied wines, medium-bodied, medium to full-bodied, or even full to massive wines. If you go for lighter wines, that's almost going to be like skim milk in terms of mouthfeel. When you go medium to full body, that's going to be 2% to whole milk. And then if you want fruity, oaky, massive wines that are round, that feels more like heavy cream in the mouth. I think when people start drinking wine, they either like that light, refreshing style, usually in terms of white wine, or they want that big, red, massive wine that's really oaky. I actually find myself drinking more lighter to medium-bodied red wines or even lighter white wines. Next is tannins, and I did a whole video on tannin comparing it to food. Tannins are part of a plant, and what happens is when you put them in your mouth, saliva binds to them, so that gives that feeling of astringency. You know, some people say that drying sensation, that dry feeling, the cotton mouthiness. Do you want wines that are a little bit more fruity and a little bit more smooth, or do you want wines that have some tannic, that have some grip to them, that start to take some of the saliva out? Those are generally better for food, especially meat. The next thing you have to know is acidity, what a lot of people refer to as sourness. Acidity is what makes your mouth water. Think about if you bite into a lemon or any other kind of citrus fruit, your mouth starts to water. I find in America that people like wines usually with lower acidity, but as you start to taste more and your experience and confidence with wine grows, you really start to crave that acidity. So when you talk to your local wine shop employee and you talk about sourness, they should be able to understand. Also, know the occasion. That'll help determine the budget. Is this a Wednesday night pizza wine? Is this an anniversary wine, a special occasion wine, a birthday wine? So you have here price and you have quality. The sweet spot for me, especially in the US, is $25 to $50 US. Generally, cheaper wines are not going to be that high of quality. You can find exceptions. When you start to hit the $25 to $50 range, you get a massive step up in terms of quality. And as you start to get over the $50 range, the quality kind of tapers off. A lot of times you're paying for supply, demand, marketing, and brand strength. This is the sweet spot right here. In this price range, you can drink some of the the greatest wines in the world. When it comes to price and quality, generally, European wines are gonna be less expensive than American wines. Chile, Argentina is also gonna give you a lot of value for money. The scale shifts a little bit when you're in Europe. I found some excellent, super high quality Portuguese wines that are under 10 bucks. Okay, you got some of those basics? Let's go shopping. So we're on our way. If you really want to get better wines, drink better wines, learn about wines, you got to get out of the supermarkets. You got to start going to wine shops, specialty shops. And I know they can be intimidating, but you got to be uncomfortable to grow a little bit. And once you find a wine shop that you like, you trust, you make relationships with the employees, the owner, they are always going to help you. They're going to learn your palate. They want to pick the right wine for you. So I come to this shop whenever I'm back in the States. I think it's been open since the 70s. That's what's cool about finding a great local wine shop. There's small businesses that you can support. I love the shop and been coming here for years. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
My name's Dick Shear. I started Village Corner in 1970.
What is the most common thing that people ask for?
Mostly they ask for a recommendation. They'll give us a field and a price. We solicit a price range. We don't embarrass anybody.
I'm looking for a dry red wine, something that's fruity, maybe just has a little bit of tannins, just a little bit grip, under 25 bucks.
Yeah, Domaine like Garrigue, Côtes de Rhône. It's in the high teens, and the 2020 is built like a Mack truck.
And what about cheaper alternatives to medium-bodied reds, high acidity? You know, people think Pinot Noir a lot of the time.
Well, a lot of people are opting for Grand Cru Beaujolais because you've got the Beaujolais levity, and then you've got the Grand Cru oomph. Turns out to be medium-bodied and very expressive.
So there it is. You don't have to memorize all the villages, all the names, all the grape varieties. You just have to know what you prefer or maybe your guests prefer. Usually people that work at a wine shop are super passionate. As you can see, someone like Dick really wants to help you choose the right bottle. If you're looking for value for money, I would try to get outside the normal grapes that you know, the big five: Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc. If it's a trusted wine shop and it's a grape that you haven't heard of, chances are it's probably going to be pretty good. Another hot tip if you like big reds: Spain, Portugal is delivering ridiculous value for money. You have this Garnacha here for $8.99. I've had this before. I think it's a delicious wine. If you want a light-bodied white, try Muscadet from France or Soave from Italy. Then there's always the dependable Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. If you want medium body, try Chenin Blanc from the Loire. When I'm shopping for myself and I want to drink something, I'm usually buying Chianti Classico. I think it delivers ridiculous value for money in terms of fine wine. For medium-bodied reds, I'd really recommend Cabernet Franc from the Loire or Côtes de Rhône. A lot of people want big Cabernet Sauvignon, but if you know how to get good quality Bordeaux, you can get something really nice in the $25 to $30 range. Full-bodied red wines, don't forget Zinfandel. The grape is also known as Primitivo in Italy, and the wines are usually cheaper. As for sparkling wine, champagne is king, but that's a topic for another video. I hope that seeing a shop and meeting an owner like Dick brings your anxiety about wine down. Wine is meant to be fun. You just gotta know a few things about your palate. What color of wine you want, level of sweetness, body. Do you want it to be fruity? Do you want it to have some tannins? What kind of acidity you want? And then most of all, price point. Don't be afraid to state your budget. So I'd love to know, what are the other factors that you use when choosing a wine? I'm gonna drink my Chianti Classico that I picked up from Village Corner. Thanks a lot. I'll see you around.